I'm in my kitchen making a coffee using a V60. It's been a long time since I've done a casual vlog where I just chat to the camera about random stuff whilst I carry on with my day-to-day life. There's something about sort of like vlogging that puts me off. This is spontaneity. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say right now. I just decided today to turn the camera on whilst I'm making my coffee and have a chat about where I'm at with things. Felt like I needed to just take a moment and stop to remember how I got here in the first place. It's not as if I just randomly one day decided, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. It is really good to be back in front of the camera making video content again. I got distracted by work and other creative pursuits became more important. So for me, that was writing instead of video, something that I'm also wanting to get better at. I think that I did have a slight limiting belief in that I possibly wanted to give up on doing YouTube because it took me so long to find a niche that I figured that maybe it's just not for me. But the truth is that I don't actually think that I really tried that hard. I used those things as excuses for why maybe YouTube just wasn't right for me. The moment that woke me up was a couple months ago. We had like a meetup event with all the YouTubers from all the cohorts. I was convinced I was going to that event just to say hi and to have some tea and coffee and chill and chat with people. Seeing the enthusiasm and energy in the room, it was kind of infectious. People were like really positive and optimistic about wanting to do this thing that they love. Courage is what you need to summon and muster in order to get started with something, and then bravery is what you need to muster when you're executing on that process that you've already had the courage to start doing. It turns out that going to that event genuinely turned around my interest and ambitions for video and YouTube. And that's what led me to decide to be here today, to start refocusing on what I set out to do more than a year ago now. What would it be like to have a creative career? Is it actually feasibly possible for me to live a life true to myself, following my passion of doing something as creative as this? The matter of the fact about YouTube content creators specifically is that the burnout rates are really, really high because there's something about making videos that is just so much emotional labor. So many big YouTubers quit because they burn out, and it's almost like just accepted as normal as part of the profession, just like other professions where burnout is accepted as normal, such as teachers and nurses. I have had difficult moments making videos before where I just couldn't handle how the videos were received. When I received dislikes, for example, I've spoken to friends of mine who are like, oh yeah, that bothered me for a day, like getting their first dislike, and they're like, and then I moved on with my life. I just went back on and created content again, and everything was forgotten about and hunky-dory. Looking back now, I've definitely developed thicker skin, and it does feel a little bit like water off the duck's back when something like that happens. I'm just so cognizant of like how fragile I can be when I'm in my worst state. I have to know that I didn't cop out. So here's to making nicheless content. Here's to not being afraid of what people think of me. Here's to me trying to find a way to push through once and for all. There comes a point in time in everybody's life where I think they're able to afford a small period or window for a little career break. It just comes at different moments in different people's life, depending on so many moving factors. And that time happens to be now for me. So I'm going to take advantage of it for the rest of this year. Obviously, I'm very, very fortunate and lucky to be able to be in this position where I'm able to just temporarily pause work and focus entirely on my creative pursuits right now. But for me, the pandemic kind of only ended about 2 months ago. I mean, it's not technically over, but I think what I'm saying is that a lot of people continued living their life as if they were still in lockdown. at different rates. So I remained in a very dormant, hibernated state for a very long period of time compared to everyone I know. I didn't want to do anything really apart from stay at home, work on my remote job, practice guitar, tidy up the house, and play tennis to stay somewhat fit. And in the past 2 months, I've sort of opened up my eyes to like the world again and realized, oh my god, what have I been missing? Where have I been? I needed that time, but now that time is done, that chapter is done, and I am now entering this phase where I'm becoming a semblance of my former self. If you're watching this channel, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing and following me on my journey, and I appreciate any time you spend on this. And if you've been here since the beginning, since PTYA, when many of us created our YouTube channels from zero, from the very beginning together, wow, it's been one hell of a journey riding alongside with you. Thank you for struggling together. It feels very meaningful. Until next time, over and out.